सो हेलो एवरीवन, मेरा नाम है विशाल एंड वेलकम टू द कोडिंग स्पेस। सो ये है हमारे चैनल का सबसे पहला पॉडकास्ट और इसमें हमारे पास साथ हैं एक बहुत ही अमेजिंग गेस्ट जिनका नाम है अरुण। इससे आगे का इंट्रोडक्शन वो आपके लिए खुद से देंगे। सो है अरुण, ओवर टू यू।
Hey Vishal, hi. This is Arun, guys, and currently, guys, I've done my masters from NIT Jamshedpur. I've done my MCA from there. I'm just in the final year. I just placed into firms, so I'll be working as an AI engineer right now. I'm joining on 15th of October. Bobble.ai will be the company that I'm joining, and yeah, that's about me.
ओके अरुण, सो तो इस पॉडकास्ट में हम लोग बात करने वाले हैं कोडिंग जर्नी की। हाउ अरुण स्टार्टेड डूइंग कोडिंग, हाउ ही लर्न द थिंग्स। तो अरुण, आई थिंक अरुण डज द मोस्ट ऑफ द कोडिंग इन द जावास्क्रिप्ट। तो हम लोग वहाँ से शुरू करते हैं। मेरा थोड़ा बैकग्राउंड जो है पाइथन से रिलेटेड है और थोड़ा सी प्लस प्लस से रिलेटेड है।
I'm into C++. I'm mostly into C++, Vishal.
ओके, सो अरुण इज ऑल्सो इनटू सी प्लस प्लस, सो दैट इज़ वेरी गुड। तो हम लोग यहाँ से शुरू करते हैं कि कैसे, like how you got into the programming. So did you do coding before your engineering, or like you started in the engineering?
Okay, so guys, to be very honest, I started coding in my bachelor's. Like I've done the 3 years bachelor's actually. So I started my coding in bachelor's in second year actually. So I mean, like at that point of time, I was introduced first with the course this data structures, and then I came to know that how important data structures are into computer science. And while writing a good software, data structure is one of the most fundamental concepts. So, yeah, as far as I remember, so I started my journey with coding in second year, to be honest. And I started with basic questions on HackerRank only. So it was not some fancy medium or hard level questions. I started with the basic easy questions only. So there was this course known as 30 days of code on HackerRank. So I started with that course only.
So you did your bachelor's in like proper computer science?
No, no, no. I have done my BCA in
Okay.
Bachelor of Computer Applications.
Okay, because like I come from a background of mechanical engineering. So in my second year I
So
got
yeah,
into.
yeah, Vishal. I've done my proper bachelor's in computer science, and then I later moved on to my master's MCA from NIT Jamshedpur.
Okay, because like in my engineering I got to introduced by like introduced to C plus plus. Okay, और उस टाइम पे तो लगता था कि यार ये क्यों, like why they are teaching us this programming language when we are the mechanical engineers. Okay, तो जैसे तैसे वो सब्जेक्ट को जस्ट पास किया है, ठीक है। उसके बाद से पूरी लाइक ग्रेजुएशन में सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक लैंग्वेज पे काम किया था, प्लेटफॉर्म कह लो आप उसको, मैटलैब पे। दैट वाज तो बहुत अमेजिंग था वो तो। लेकिन उसके बाद से तो आई लाइक नेवर टच द कोडिंग टिल लाइक आई वर्कड 1 year in the industry. I used to design like educational equipments. उसके बाद आई स्टार्टेड लर्निंग अगेन सी प्लस प्लस थ्रू आर्डुइनो प्रोग्रामिंग। और उसके बाद धीरे धीरे जैसे जैसे ए आई में फिर वी केम इन टू, सो आई मूव इन टू द पाइथन ऑल्सो। सो हाउ इज योर जर्नी विद सी प्लस प्लस? हाउ डू यू फाइंड इट लाइक?
So Vishal, initially when I started with C++, it was not actually C++. I had to be very honest, it was like C with classes. I was using most of the C features, and I was just trying to write simple classes. I was trying to blend inheritance and polymorphism, these kind of concepts with C language. And later I realized that C++ is not only about this. I mean, C++ is C++ is way more than this. I mean, then I got to know about modern C++ when I came into my master's in first year. So in modern C++, we have the newer versions of C++ now, that is C++ 11, 14, 17, and now we have 20 also. So like lot of the standard libraries were introduced in C++11, like standard template library. We have vector, string, map, annotated map, algorithms, header. These kind of things we have now in C++11. And I think C++ is very close to my heart because first of all, it's compiled language, to be very honest, and then it's static type language, and then it's very fast too. So, and I was pretty much into competitive programming also, and a lot of people in competitive programming community uses C++ as their primary language. So that was my only reason that when I started with C++, but later it became one of my favorite language because I was very comfortable with C++, as well as like most of the codes that I was writing were in C++ only.
Okay, so why I am very fascinated about C++ is first of all its speed and its robustness. कि मीन्स
exactly.
आप लाइक फ्रॉम द अर्थ कितनी सारी गाड़ियाँ हैं जो यूज सी प्लस प्लस, एंड इन द मार्स ऑल्सो दे आर ऑल्सो यूजिंग सी प्लस प्लस। and I haven't seen any other language which is so like elegant as C++. मीन बाकी सारी लैंग्वेजेस अलग तरफ है, ठीक है, पाइथन है, ठीक है, पाइथन इज ऑल्सो वेरी ब्यूटीफुल, जावास्क्रिप्ट तो इट इज़ ठीक है, चलो अलग ही चीज़ है, बट C++ इज समथिंग एल्स, इजंट इट?
Yeah, I mean, like to be, yeah, I agree with you on this, Vishal. See, the thing about C++ is that if you look at most of the great softwares, for example, Visual Studio, even like 40% of the total software products are written in C++ by Microsoft, and even Google is using like C++ as their main. Like the PageRank algorithm of Google is also implemented in C++ only, and I mean, like if you talk about the real-time systems, basically that there should not be any lag in the processing and all. So I think C++ is the one language that rules the market. Even like OpenCV and this kind of machine learning this scikit-learn and all. Ultimately, these are written in C and then C, a combination of C++. Even NumPy is also written in C, I think, as far as
हाँ,
I know.
numpy is also written
So
in C.
yeah.
और
Yeah,
इवन
so
जो
basically C++ is just a superset of C. So I mean, like C++ is definitely one of the language. Even one of most of the gaming engines, that Unreal and Unity, most of the games are only built in C++ also, keeping the
यस यस,
performance in mind.
और सबसे जो इसकी वो मीन्स अमेजिंग चीज़ ये है कि एम्बेडेड सिस्टम्स के लिए भी इट इज़ लाइक मच मोर लाइक यू कैन से बेस्ट लैंग्वेज। और मेरा जो एक्सपोजर जो मुझे मिला C++ का, दैट इज़ फ्रॉम एम्बेडेड सिस्टम्स ओनली। एम्बेडेड सिस्टम लाइक जैसे आर्डुइनो है, RPi है, तो उन पे काम करने के लिए। और करंटली तो आई एम राइटिंग अ लाइब्रेरी फॉर आर्डुइनो, यू नो अबाउट आर्डुइनो?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I
So
know that. It's
yeah,
one
I'm
of my
writing
favorite
like a
languages.
whole machine learning framework for Arduino. Okay, obviously उसका कोई प्रोफेशनल वो तो नहीं है, स्कोप तो नहीं है, क्योंकि Arduino is like a very small microcontroller.
Yeah,
But yes,
as a
for
side
learning
project,
purposes,
definitely you can go for it.
और उस पर वीडियोज़ भी बहुत ही जल्दी आने वाली हैं, तो अगर आप उन वीडियोज़ को देखना चाहते हो तो हिट द सब्सक्राइब बटन।
Yeah, guys, please hit the subscribe button for that. And one more thing, Vishal, I mean, like C++ is so versatile that you can even write code for real-time systems. And even if you want to design GUI, that is graphical user interface, then you have Qt5 in C++. I mean, like C++ is pretty much versatile. I mean, like whatever you name it, you have the application of C++ in that system. So I think like it's really a good time to learn C++. It gives you a feel of object-oriented programming. It is modern now, and it also has a lot of libraries. It has algorithm standard also. I mean, like apart from a loose type programming language like Python or JavaScript, you must learn a language that is static type. So I think C++ or maybe Java is a great choice, but I will still prefer C++ over Java.
हाँ, नहीं C++ इज़ मतलब जावा से तो काफ़ी इट इज़ बेटर। और इसका जो यूज़ केसेस है वो भी बहुत ज़्यादा हैं। जैसे अभी टेस्ला सेल्फ ड्राइविंग कार के अंदर जो उनका पूरा का पूरा जो वो डैशबोर्ड है, लाइक जो भी नेविगेशन पैनल है, दैट इज़ ऑल्सो लाइक बिल्ड विद C++ Qt। एंड अभी एक और कंपनी है Comma AI, आई थिंक यू हर्ड अबाउट इट। सो like the founder is George Hotz, the guy who first jailbreak the iPhone. So they are also building a self-driving car, और उनका जो भी पूरा का नेविगेशन का जो सिस्टम है, that is also written in the C++ only, and they are like hiring for the people. So if any one of you guys want to go into the machine learning, yes, Python is obviously very good. Python is a choice, but learn C++ also. So there is no other language which can match the speed of C++. Yeah, C will be there,
Yeah,
but C++ is amazing.
I'll suggest one thing, though. I mean, like, I think you should not only focus on one programming language. I mean, like, I'm definitely sound with C++. I love C++, but I also learned Python 3, and I also learned Java. The main reason behind learning Python was that there are some things that you simply cannot do in C++. Or if you can do, then it's kind of very tedious to do in C++. For example, if you talk about web scraping kind of thing, then it's very hard to send a HTTP request through C++, but it's very easy to send a HTTP request through Python. So, like, depending upon the use cases, definitely a lot of programming languages are there, but still I'll suggest that, to make your concepts very firm and to get the feel of computer science, you should at least learn 3 to 4 programming languages. So
Yeah,
this is
I
what I
also
felt in
recommend
the past.
that at least learn 3 languages. Like one is C++,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
but like start with Python, move to C++,
Yeah.
and then learn JavaScript also, because JavaScript, like I hate JavaScript, but the inevitable fact is that it is the only language which runs on the web browser.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like,
So
it's
that
the
is why
only
it
language
becomes
that
like
powers
really
web.
important nowadays.
Exactly.
Okay, and now though we have a lot of libraries for the JavaScript also for the machine learning purpose, like TensorFlow.js and some other libraries are also. ML5 is also available there. So if you want to learn JavaScript, I'll suggest that P5 is the like according to me it is the best way, because it will give you a बहुत ही विजुअल आपको फीडबैक मिलता है. यू कैन क्रिएट शेप्स ईजिली, आप शेप्स को मूव कर सकते हो, आप कोई भी गेम बना सकते हो. तो अगर आपको कुछ भी प्रोटोटाइप करना है, कोई भी आपको गेम का आइडिया मिला है, तो यू कैन ईजिली गो टू देयर एंड यू कैन वर्क अराउंड इट. आई थिंक यू ऑल्सो हैव वर्कड ऑन P5.js.
Well, I actually have worked Vishal on Babylon.js. It's kind of a different like library of JavaScript, and it's have to do something with the 3D modeling. So I worked little on that only. I've
Okay.
not worked much on the JavaScript, but still, like as a client side scripting language and kind of a part of a Node.js, I would definitely work on JavaScript.
Okay, good. Let's talk about data structures and algorithms and why they are important apart from interview purpose.
So, Vishal, first of all, the thing is that a lot of things that you do with your computer is how to do with the data part. Uh, Ultimately, your machine is your computers are all about like you give some kind of data, you give some kind of input data, and you expect some kind of output, right? And to be very honest, data structures are something that are basically that are way to organize your data. That how exactly your computer stores and manipulates with data, right? So to efficiently write good software systems, it's very important to have a firm understanding of data structures and algorithms. And people I've seen students like focusing more on the tech stack, right, like machine learning and even like web development in the initial engineering years. But what I have felt through my coding journey is that as a fresher, especially when you just get your first job, your tech stack matters, but it does not matter that much.
Yes.
You must be at least good with programming. You must know how to write a good code and you must know how to use proper data structures. So even apart from the interviews, it's very important that how efficient your code is, and that is something data structures comes into play.
Yes, because like what I feel is मैंने भी सेम ही गलती करी थी when I started with the coding. So I thought, okay, I learn Python and I made few like projects in Python, and so मैंने सोचा कि चलो ठीक है, data structures and are not that important to work on. But धीरे धीरे when I like moved into like proper software development, when I started creating complex projects, तब I also realized कि नहीं, data structures are very important even if you are not appearing for the interview, even if you are just like making a project, फिर भी you should know that how is your data being organized in a code. चाहे हम we will not use the like linked list practically anywhere else, okay, like the pure linked list, but still you should
Yeah,
know.
definitely. Vishal, it will be definitely a hybrid data structure. You will not use a simple data structure. It will be a combination of data structures. But let me give you an example. For example, a dictionary implementation is one of the very, I'll say, very basic problem when you face when you come into language and all NLP, these kind of things. And dictionaries are implemented through the trie data structure, usually through trie data structure. And if you are not familiar with the trie data structure, then you will not be able to efficiently implement your dictionary data structure. So the kind of dictionary that you want to implement, that should be implemented with try to be very efficient. So I think it's very important to at least understand, at least have the basic understandings of data structures, and at least write the code for the data structures by yourself. Just don't do that you've written you have read the theory and then that's it. Don't do that. Please, at
Yes.
least if you are not into coding, if coding does not interest you much, but at least then try to implement all the data structures by your hand, by your own in your code. That is something that gives you a very great exposure. That's what I have done, to be very honest.
हाँ, वन उसमें एक इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ ये भी है ना कि व्हेन यू विल स्टार्ट लर्निंग मशीन लर्निंग, तो मशीन लर्निंग इज नथिंग बट सम एल्गोरिदम, सम डेटा इज कमिंग, यू आर पुटिंग दैट डेटा थ्रू एल्गोरिदम एंड देन यू आर गेटिंग सम आउटपुट. सो उसके लिए भी तो यू हैव टू राइट अ कोड. सो यू हैव टू राइट अ कोड हाउ टू लाइक गेट दैट डेटा, हाउ टू लाइक ट्रांसफॉर्म दैट डेटा एंड देन टू राइट दैट एल्गोरिदम, चाहे वो लाइक अ न्यूरल नेटवर्क हो या और भी, चाहे सिंपल इवन इफ योर लीनियर रिग्रेशन इज देयर, still you have to like write the code for that. So what I feel is data
Yeah,
structure is
and
like a problem solving.
exactly, Vishal. I mean, like, see, as a computer science students, we are nothing more or less than problem solvers, right? And when you solve the data structures problems, and when you implement them by yourself, then you kind of develop a good computational thinking, the kind of thinking that programmers must have, right? And when you implement the data structures and you do good questions on them, then it automatically comes to you that how to approach a given problem. So
Yes.
it is like a muscle. It is like a muscle, just like you go to gym and then you build your body. It's the same way that you are building your muscle for solving the problems that you face on day-to-day basis in your codes. So that is also one more important aspect why you should learn data structure. And obviously, like if you look at the coding interviews of good companies, like any company you take, and no matter what profile you are applying for, you would have to at least face a one or two coding interview rounds. And in that coding interview rounds, your knowledge of data structures and fundamental computer science will be checked, right? So this is something that you cannot simply avoid. And people usually prefer Python and other languages for that. But I mean, in my experience, what I will suggest is that rather than going for a dynamic type language, I'll always suggest to go for a static type language like C++ and Java, because it gives you an edge over the other candidates. I mean, like, it's definitely language independent, but still, like, your choice of language while writing the code should be C++ or Java, because usually companies tend to give a kind of higher preference to the candidates who write code in C++ and Java instead of Python or JavaScript
But
in
why
coding
is that?
interviews. See, the thing is that which are like, I mean, like a lot of modules and libraries are already available for Python. That is one thing, definitely. And the second thing is that, I mean, in Python, the syntax is relatively easy, and it's kind of a prototyping language, right? I mean, like, it's more of a scripting language. Though in good companies, like in Google and all these kind of companies, it does not really matter much that what kind of language you're using. But C++ is the kind of language that it's a programming language, it's a compiled language, and a lot of people have already embraced C++, right? So it's just like asking someone that who is already using WhatsApp, that why you are using WhatsApp, why are you not using some other kind of chat client? Because you have already embraced that client, right? So the same
Yes.
way, a growing community has already embraced C++. So that is why, I mean, like, I'll suggest that you should go with C++ or Java maybe, rather than like some dynamic type language.
मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये पॉडकास्ट अभी बनता जा रहा है सी प्लस प्लस वर्सेस अदर प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेजेस.
No, see, Vishal, I mean, like,
Yeah,
this is where I really want to, I mean, like, convey one point to, I mean, like, you also and to our viewer also, that all the viewers, that it's very childish, to be very honest, to fight on programming languages.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
like,
obviously.
see, there are different use cases for every programming language. I already mentioned this thing that if you want to send an HTTP request, then it's way easier to do this in Python compared to C++, right? But then, that is why I suggested in the very first half that you should always at least learn 3 to 4 programming languages
Yes,
to
yes,
have
yes.
firm grip. So I'll never compare C++ with Python or Python with C++. It's just the kind of projects I've done, the kind of technology I'll be working on right now in my C++ team. I actually am in a C++ team right now. My use case happens to be revolving much around C++ rather than Python. So that is why my choice of preference is C++. But it doesn't have to do anything with C++ or Python. Whatever language you feel good with, comfortable with, you can definitely choose that language. But just as
Yes.
a preference, it's my personal suggestion that you should go with C++ or maybe Java.
Yeah, this is actually nowadays C++ is becoming more popular again. Like past three, four
Exactly,
years,
exactly.
like people were like becoming mad for the Python, but now people are coming back for the C++. Like the example is me also. I like started like doing more work in the C++ rather than the Python. Okay, so what's your thought on machine learning? Let's now move on to a little bit of the philosophical questions. Okay.
Um,
Okay. So before that, I want to
so,
ask you one more question. Sorry. Yeah. So what is the best way to get started with the data structures?
okay. Vishal, What I felt is, and some of the early mistakes that I did in data structures was that I only did the theoretical concepts and I did not
Mm-hmm.
write the code by myself initially. And
Okay.
that is where it is a fundamental problem with most of the candidates, most of the students in India that I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I was among them at that time also. So when like they understand, okay, that this is a stack data structure, there's a pointer top, and how that's how do you insert, and that's how do you pop or maybe push an element in stack. But uh, the real thing is that whatever data structure you are learning, please write the code for that data structure. It's very important to write the code by yourself. If you'll not write
Mm-hmm.
the code, then it will not be of very much high it will not be much of uses if you don't write the code, because when you write the code for a particular data
Mm-hmm.
structure, then you get the in and out of the data structure, right? So that is why I'll suggest that pick any good book on data structures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any suggestions you have for the books?
Yeah, so I followed this Karumanchi book of data structure. He's a author, like he's a MTech from IIT Mumbai, I think, and he has his book is really good on data structures. He has also some books on coding interviews also. And apart from that, I think on Geeks for Geeks, there's a course known as DSA where you can go and practice the problems. So
Mm-hmm.
once you get the firm understanding, if not the firm, at least a fair understanding of data structures, you should start solving some problems on data structures. For example, if you learn the stack and queue, then understand that how you can implement a stack by using two queues, and then how you can implement that code, or maybe how you can implement a queue using two stacks and how to write the code. So these kind of popular problems you should solve while studying the data structures, and write the don't do not forget to write the code and
Hmm.
solve some popular problems on those data structures.
So, is there any list like these are the five data structures that you must learn? Can we make a list
So
like that?
from the coding interviews perspective, Vishal, I mean, like, I'll say that array is definitely something that you should,
Mm-hmm.
well, like in the linear data structures, array and this linked list and double-ended queues are very important.
Mm-hmm.
And you should also understand the working of dynamic array,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like in the adapter data structures, I'll say that obviously stack and queue are also very important.
Mm-hmm.
Priority queue, and then hashing and hash map, these data structures also important. Actually, hashing is a searching technique though.
Mm-hmm.
And then in non-linear data structures, if not up till like red black trees and all like very advanced data structures, at least do till binary search trees. I mean,
Okay.
like you can definitely expect questions till binary search trees or maybe ALT rotations and all.
Yes.
So
So,
this is a
mhm.
good list that I feel that at least you must do while studying data structures.
Yeah, so what I felt is like obviously first of all you have to study data structure in theory, then implement the code for that. So what I feel is like if you create a visualization of a certain algorithm or the data structure, so you will be able to learn that like inside out. Now I'm also like working on a series of videos where I'll be like doing the visualization of algorithms such as algorithms in the data structure such as like bubble sort, sorting algorithm, and then Digester algorithm, and then A star algorithm. So I'll be making like visualization of those. So if you make a visualization how this algorithm is solving the problem, then you will be able to learn like minute details about that because you have to like
Yeah,
implement
definitely,
each and every
definitely,
step.
sir. And even once you write the code, one suggestion that I left was that at least learn to use a debugger. I mean, like in C++, GDB is a debugger, good debugger, GNU debugger, and you should learn how to use a debugger and how to add breakpoints in your code so that
Mm-hmm.
you can run the code step by step. Whenever you are making a mistake, you
Mm-hmm.
can run the code step by step, and also learn to write the code on paper also while you are implementing
Yes.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Please try to dry run the code first and then
Mm-hmm.
only write the code.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
So this
yes.
is also one good suggestion that I feel that I left back then.
Yeah. So, any thoughts on your favorite IDE? Which IDE is your favorite?
So I mean, Vishal, I'll suggest that initially you should not go with the ID because
Mm-hmm.
what I felt is that when you use an ID, then it has a autocorrect and this
Yes, yes,
IntelliJ
yes.
features.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're just starting out with the language, it's not really good because you'll not write, because ultimately in coding interviews you would have to write the code on paper, right?
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
initially you should not use any like code editor or this ID. I'll suggest there's this editor known as Kate. It's built in Kubuntu. on KDE desktop environment. It's
Mm-hmm.
good. It has this automatic this braces balancing and all these kind of features are there. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
No auto suggestions are there. So
Mm-hmm.
once you feel that yeah you are comfortable with language and then you don't have any problem in writing the code even on paper, then a CLON is a IDE for C and C++ that I really prefer. It's developed by JetBrains. And
Mm-hmm.
for Python, I'll prefer PyCharm. It's also developed by JetBrains.
Okay, so
So these are my
PyCharm is I
favorite
feel
IDEs.
it PyCharm. So I feel like very overwhelmed by the PyCharm. I like more of like a sleek design, like Sublime Text I use for
Yeah, I mean,
all of
like
these.
ultimately, then Vishal, it's like a code editor than an IDE, but it's your preference. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
worked more on PyCharm, so PyCharm is kind of my taste.
Because
Yeah, but
like
PyCharm is definitely very heavy.
yes, it's heavy also, but I don't like the syntax coloring of that one. Like the same thing I feel for the VS Code also.
Like
Because
for
like
that,
it.
Vishal, I mean, like
Mhm.
you can definitely add the extra themes. There are options in my IntelliJ also now that you can add the extra themes if you don't like the default coloring and all. So now
Okay,
you have the feature to change that.
okay. So now let's move on to coding for the kids. Okay, what are
Okay.
your thoughts on that? Like nowadays a lot of kids are learning to code, there are a lot of organizations are there. Okay, so what are your thoughts on this thing?
Uh, see, what I feel is that coding is more about problem solving, and I mean like what I personally felt is that I have seen some people teaching, and even I teach at an organization with the
Mm-hmm.
kids for coding and all. So what I feel is that rather than just teaching them the syntax,
Mm-hmm.
what we can do is that we can kind of give them a course first known as Introduction to Logic or maybe
Mm-hmm.
Introduction to Mathematical Thinking, such kind of course, right?
Okay.
So these courses actually enhances the logical ability and the kind of ways you approach the problems, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we can include the courses like probability,
Mm-hmm.
permutations and combinations, statistics, a very basic fundamentals of these topics in that Introduction to Mathematical Thinking
Mm-hmm.
course. And once the student is kind of thorough with this kind of things, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that how this is a prime number, this is how you can calculate prime number fastly, these kind of things, then only I think you should move to the coding. But a lot of organizations, what they do is that they try to just teach the syntax of a programming language.
Mm-hmm.
They have a defined curriculum, and I feel that that is not a good way to teach codings to kids, especially. I mean, like it has to be very interactive, and above that, it has to be kind of I mean, like very intuitive, and the kid especially will not be able to get the feel until
Mm-hmm.
unless it's not fun and intuitive. And it will only get intuitive if you give the initial course that I already mentioned, that Introduction to Logic or maybe Introduction to Mathematical Thinking.
Yes, so you are correct. Okay, that this should be given, but what the problem happens is because I taught the coding also. I worked in the curriculum departments also. Right now also, I working like very close to the curriculum department. So what I feel is होता क्या है कि जो जो पेरेंट्स है ना दे वांट सम आउटपुट फ्रॉम दैट कोर्स if like a parent is paying 10,000, 20,000, or 1 lakh rupees for a course, so what they want is कि after every 2-3 sessions so there should be a project. तो इट्स लाइक अ बर्डन ऑन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑल्सो कि यार हमें ना तो उसके बाद कोई एक अच्छी सी आउटपुट दिखानी है सो दैट पेरेंट्स आर वेरी हैप्पी. और सेम फॉर द स्टूडेंट ऑल्सो, अगर आप उनको प्रोबेबिलिटी सिखाओगे स्टार्टिंग से, आई नो इट इज़ लाइक अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट, ठीक है. आई ऑल्सो ट्राई टू लाइक टीच दैट वे ओनली. आई ऑल्सो लाइक आई एम लाइक 100% अग्री विथ योर वे. अगर मेरे हाथ में हो तो आई विल यूज़ योर वे ओनली. लेकिन अगर हम इसको थोड़ा सा बिजनेस पर्सपेक्टिव से सोच के चलें तो देर आर अ लॉट ऑफ चैलेंजेस आर देयर जो कंपनीज को थोड़ा सा रोकते हैं ये करने के लिए. बट नाउ
See,
डेज.
Vishal, what I think is that let's suppose you when you are designing the curriculum for kids, then what we can do is that I mean, like for example, if let's say it's a level one course or maybe introductory course, then in that introductory course, in the first half, we can introduce these concepts like this introduction to logic or introduction to mathematical thinking, and in the next half, we can include the code part, so that the parents also get to see that their kids are actually writing the code. and we also have done our job, that we already taught the in this logic part also, the mathematical thinking part also, and we also made the students write the code also. I think this is kind of a mutual agreement where we can come across definitely, if we try to just modify the curriculum slightly, if we try
Yes.
to make it dynamic little bit.
और इसका एक ना बहुत लाइक एवरीबडी वांट्स एवरीथिंग वेरी वेरी फास्ट कि ठीक है एक हफ्ते के लिए चार क्लासेस अटेंड करो एंड यू विल लर्न कोडिंग. एक्चुअली इट इज़ नॉट
Yeah, I mean,
लाइक
like,
दैट
still,
इजी.
yeah, this is what I personally share with you. I mean, like, I've seen some of the ads of some companies and organizations that they market coding, they market, they kind of marketing they do is like, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg started coding at 10, and if your kid also will start programming at 10, he will also become like them. Yeah, it's totally false, and it's totally fake marketing, I'll say. I mean, like, it's definitely not how coding works. I mean, like, those people were definitely brilliant first. The second part was that the kind of problems they were solving even at the age of 10, we could not even imagine those kind of problems. So I mean, it's something very bad for these firms to market their services or maybe their coaching classes like this. I mean, like, it's a very bad marketing strategy, and it kind of damages the spirit of the coding wholesome. If I summarize in one or two lines, I mean, like, this is definitely not the way you should do your marketing. So that is something I really hate.
बट डोंट यू थिंक सो लाइक दे विल गेट अ लॉट ऑफ एक्सपोजर. जैसे कि लाइक आई कम फ्रॉम लाइक अ वेरी स्मॉल विलेज. और मैं आपको एक छोटा सा
Yeah.
एग्जांपल देता हूँ, ठीक है. सो देर इज़ अ टीचर इन माई स्कूल. ओके, आई वॉज इन द एट्थ ग्रेड. सो एट दैट टाइम द टीचर वॉज डूइंग हिज MCA. So like he was like a very good friend of mine. Okay, so he gave me a book of C++. Okay, I knew nothing about language programming. So I used to wonder that where I will write this code. समझ रहे हो, मुझे कंपाइलर ही नहीं पता कि कंपाइलर नाम की कोई चीज़ होती है. I had that book and a lot of concept I understood there. Okay, I'll not say that I understand everything. Okay, but at least 10 to 20% I understood. But the problem was that I
Shall
used
I,
to
I
think that.
totally agree with you on this. I mean, like, I totally agree with you on this. Definitely, when kids are coding from a very young age, they'll definitely get a good exposure. So, what I'm against actually is, I mean, like, what my points are that when kids are learning coding at an early age, so there are two, three things that we should keep in mind. Is that first of all, we should impart a kind of introduction to mathematics kind of course, or maybe introduction to mathematical thinking kind of course. Then only they should be allowed to write the code. And then the second thing is that the marketing thing that I already mentioned, that this is a bad marketing strategy. Apart from that, coding is something that is fundamental right now, right? So it's very good that kids are learning these days this skill. It's really good, and it definitely gives them a good exposure. But I mean, like, my concern is only this part. I mean, like, that marketing part, and then this part, that kids
Yes,
are not learning the
yes, yes, yes.
fundamentals, the kind of logical thinking, and then they are directly jumping into the writing code.
And they
That
are
will be
like
just
even.
simply copy and paste.
Yes. So what do you think, like where this thing will go, coding for kids? Like, what is the way forward for this industry?
Vishal, to be very honest, but well, like, it's my personal perception, to be honest, that I think that if your children are coding at a very young age,
Mm-hmm.
then they definitely get a good exposure. I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
and if they really become interested in that, then they can explore this field even in a more depth.
Yes.
So rather,
Mm-hmm.
the kind of work you'll be doing, the kind of courses you'll be taking in maybe your engineering or maybe in your graduation, if you are
Mm-hmm.
already doing that since early age, then it definitely kind of gives you an edge. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll not say that if your kid is doing programming since very young age, then it is guaranteed that he will become a good programmer,
Mm-hmm.
because programming is definitely a sort of very complex job.
Yes.
It's one
Mm-hmm.
of the finest art, if you ask me. So even if your kid is not coding, if your
Mm-hmm.
kid is only interested in mathematics and logical thinking at a very early age, that's also a very good sign that maybe
Mm-hmm.
your kid can go into a software engineering or maybe a computer science job.
Okay.
So, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely, I'll again say that it definitely gives a very good exposure to kids at a very young
Mm-hmm.
age when they start coding.
Yeah, because like what happens is because my thoughts may be a little bit biased because I work in this industry and I have been working in this industry from like past 4 5 years. But yes, there are certain things which I am like totally agree with you. Yes, we should like keep expectations like low, so that because it's a like a very complex thing, because there are like I have been coding
Exactly.
from like past 3 years now, but there are like a very small things which I forget and I just have to like google them up. And there are like several like uh, I have like we have to like spend several hours just to like debug the code or solve like a very like a small problem. So nowadays the kids are learning like with a very high level of abstraction, so they don't have to like deal with the data structures, what are the data types. So they are just like either they are working with the javascript or python, and or with the blocks. So yes,
Exactly.
yeah, so if they develop logic, so now there is like there's a problem with the kids also. They also like want everything like in a very fast paced. So the the
So
teachers and
Vishal, I mean, like students are ultimately, well, like they are students, like they're children ultimately.
yes.
So I think it's the duty of a good teacher to take the things slowly, to make them understand that what exactly is coding and how should you take it. I think that is the responsibility of a teacher, and that is not, I think, a big of a job, big of a issue that where students are expecting that we want to move fast, and then teacher can definitely make the necessary modifications in their teaching methods, and they
Yes.
can be a little bit of dynamic. For example, I was teaching one of the kid and he has already learned a lot of things, so I was just teaching him data structures. So I mean, like, that definitely can make your teaching little intuitive or kind of dynamic towards the students needs. That's what I would say.
Okay, so now let's move on to the next section. Okay, so अब हम लोग बात करेंगे थोड़े से philosophical questions के बारे में. So if you like, if you don't know, so earlier I used to make some physics videos on my channel, like can you time travel, can you
Okay.
like what is a black hole, quantum mechanics, and all of these things. Okay, so now I'm very fascinated about this machine learning and artificial intelligence concept. Okay, now तो ठीक है, we are using it for like image classification, text classification, but what are your thoughts on that one? Can we create a human conscious, or you can say like a human like conscious, through mathematics or programming?
So, Vishal, I mean, like, if we talk about the kind of inception, not exactly inception, but where exactly this AI boom took, it was around like 1975 or 80s. I don't know exactly the era.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this concept of two types of AI back then: general AI and kind of narrow AI. So,
Mm-hmm.
general AI is more about like these humanoids taking over the world and fighting with the humans, and taking over the world by a supercomputer, a super intelligent computer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the humanoids are doing all sort of job, and
Mm-hmm.
we are creating the human conscious. And then there's a narrow AI that is more realistic AI, that is much more mathematics oriented, and that has proven to give better results.
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of concept that is this like a lot of people have in their mind is they are much into general AI. They're stuck
Mm-hmm.
into this robot. Whatever, whenever they
Yes.
see robots, autonomous
Mm-hmm.
cars, they see it as an AI. I mean, like, uh, I mean, you have to be very specific when you talk about AI. I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
when I talk about AI or when I studied about ML, I studied ML and AI from a very narrow AI perspective, where I
Yes.
was much into mathematical models of
Mm-hmm.
those, I mean, like, AI and ML techniques, and where I was actually getting some good results, and I
Mm-hmm.
could actually say that it was good AI. But then when you show people that, okay, you are kind of predicting the future sales, or maybe you are kind of having a good recommendation engine, people
Mm-hmm.
don't usually consider, even in like general people do not consider it as an AI, because
Yes.
a robot is not there, a robot is not doing the things,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that. So I think like AI and ML are something that are kind of definitely booming field right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the main reason while these fields are booming is that because earlier we had a lot of data, but we simply did not have the computing power to process that
Yes.
data.
Yes.
But I mean, like, right now with the rise of the GPU computing and like
Mm-hmm.
parallel processing and all, we do have that. I mean, like, that computing power to
Mm-hmm.
process the data. And I mean, like, I think that it's a very good time to start with ML, but at the same moment of time have sound understanding of data structures and good
Yes.
programming skills.
Yes.
So I think it's a the blend of these things can definitely get you a good job. And above that, you can definitely become a better kind of software engineer or maybe
Mm-hmm.
an ML engineer, whatever you want to get into.
Yeah, what I
So
feel is when like when I was like when I wasn't in this field. Okay, पहले I used to do the computational fluid dynamics, like calculating the flow over the aerofoils, planes, cars. Okay, so when I also got introduced to AI through movies. Okay, I also felt that okay, someday AI is going to take over and all of these things. So when I like started studying AI, okay, so the benefit I got is I didn't my programming was not that good at the starting, but I had a very sound knowledge of mathematics, calculus, and linear algebra. So that gave me a head start in the machine learning journey. So when I started learning neural networks, the math of neural networks, gradient descent, how to optimize these things, so I felt that this is just like a pure mathematics, okay, and not even like a full mathematics. We just use like a linear algebra, like some 3 4 concepts of linear algebra, and then 2 3 concepts of calculus. Rest is your programming. So I think that
Yeah,
can we
yeah.
create a complex structure like human brain through these neural networks? Like, is it even possible?
To be very honest, Vishal, to be very like honest with you, I don't have definitely that much expertise on AI to comment on this statement. But what
Mm-hmm.
I feel is that I think it's kind of a more of like a very generic question because
Mm-hmm.
human brain processes a lot of things at the same time. Like
Yes.
a lot of things are going on, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of like it takes like 20% of the entire energy of the body, and it has to do a lot of things like from respiration to digestion to
Mm-hmm.
like feeling things and seeing things, processing things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, like this Neuralink and is these kind of things are going on where Elon Musk is trying to kind of upload. I mean, like trying to upload a human brain to a computer and such sort of stuff. I'm not aware
Yes.
about this project, but I think that Neuralink is the name.
Yeah,
But
neural
what
link
I
is
feel is that
mm-hmm.
it's not nearly possible looking at the current AI pace that we are going on because to be very honest with you, like I think that I feel that ML field is kind of saturated right now. The major algorithms that were to be invented in machine learning, they are already there. We are
Mm-hmm.
just kind of tweaking the original algorithms into different neural networks and into different algorithms, and we are expecting some different results. But
Mm-hmm.
I think just by using mathematics and some computing machines,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think I may be definitely wrong because I don't have the expertise to comment on this, but I really think that it's not like possible in at least 50 to 100 years, according to me, near 50 to 100 years, that we will be able to create a artificial brain just like human brain. I think that's very unlikely to happen. Seeing
Mm-hmm.
the current saturation in machine learning and AI field, I think there can be some groundbreaking revolutionary algorithms in the near future. But
Mm-hmm.
as far as my understanding goes of machine learning, I think it's not quite possible in the near 50 years. That's what I think.
Yes, it yes. I also think in a similar way, but I think it will happen a lot sooner. I have like a positive expect because I want to see this happening, that human sort of consciousness created using algorithms and uh,
Yeah, but like
programming.
robots are definitely there. This Sophia is there. I mean, like we
Sophia to
have
it is
definitely
fake. Sophia to it is completely fake.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
like
it is so. Mm-hmm.
we have definitely achieved some groundbreaking results in machine learning. I mean, like especially in the field of recommendation engines and some more
Yes.
things.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I mean, like there's a lot of things that are needed to be done right now. I mean, like search is one field where machine learning can even do better. In like Google is focusing much on machine learning, that how
Mm-hmm.
you can personalize the results. So I think that there's a lot of scope right now in machine learning, but the kind of if you look from the research perspective, then
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a much scope in machine learning because everything has already been invented. I think so. But from a software, maybe from a ML engineer, maybe an industry person, I think
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of potential in machine learning field right now.
Yes, but what I believe is right now, because algorithms are available, okay, code is available to you. You can like search through the GitHub and you have the data also from the Kaggle. What I feel is there is a lot of scope in deploying the models, so that how you will
Yeah.
deploy a certain model either through an app or either through a website or either with the edge devices. like such as Arduino and
Exactly.
Raspberry Pi, because the future lies there. More and more computing power will go to the edge devices. So the more and more complex models and programs we will be able to like deploy on these. Right now, I because like I have a like a very, because I feel like there are two industries which I want to work in. One is the education, the STEM education, and the other one is the agriculture. So
Okay.
I'm also working on a lot of projects related to self-driving technology in the agriculture, and how can we like collect the data and make sense of that data. I also like made an app, so it was a fun app. So what I did is I collected the data of a cow, like time
Okay.
of milking, okay, the temperature of the atmosphere, what I fed that cow. So I took a data of like 35 days, and what I was trying to do is I was trying to predict the effect on milk production, uh, depending upon the what type of feed we are giving to that animal and time of the milking.
Oh, it
And
sounds
yes,
definitely very interesting.
yes, so I was able to like get a good result, but I didn't pursue that project. It has it had some other things into that one. It was like a student project, so I was just like helping them, but they have like taken all of my access to that data. But these kind of problems are like very interesting, like how you will like apply like machine learning to as low level thing like a farm, okay, like for the animals. So there is a company called
Yeah.
as Edge Impulse. They are doing like this work really good. So what they did is they are trying to put, so they have like created a platform, so there you can train
Okay.
your model and you can directly
Okay.
deploy that model to your Arduino. Okay, obviously not the
Okay.
Arduino Uno. So we have Arduino Nano BLE Sense. It's about like 3,000 rupees. So you can directly train the model there and deploy that to your
Okay.
Arduino. So these kind of things, I feel like there's like a more growth in these kind of things,
Definitely.
and that requires C++, guys. So learn C++.
Well, yeah, it kind of depends upon a lot of use cases, the kind of
Yes,
like use case you're having.
yes.
So I think Vishal, that's about it.
Yeah,
It's
Arun.
pretty.
So it's really nice talking to you. Actually, I didn't even realize it's 50 minutes already. Okay. So
Yeah,
at starting, I was planning to record over like a 30-minute podcast, but now like, so if I was enjoying, I think our viewers will also
viewers all
enjoy. Okay,
will,
because there was a
yeah,
lot of
definitely.
insights. Okay, from your side,
Yeah,
obviously.
definitely. Yeah.
Yes. So, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Okay, thank you, Arun. And अगर आप चैनल
Thanks
पे
a lot,
पहली बार
Vishal,
आए
too,
हो,
for having me.
yes, if you are coming on the channel for the first time, so I make videos about Python programming, artificial intelligence, and JavaScript, specifically p5.js. So if you want to see videos like this and podcasts like this, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Okay, and I'll see you all of you in the next video or podcast. Okay, bye bye everyone.